Richie Petty's car was collected as well.
Our dad wouldn't even mess with an engine unless it was on one of these stands. That's the way you did things back then.
But that's off 1970.
First engine we ever built for the Craftsman truck.
We're about to walk into what was Maurice Petty and Associates engine shop. We're gonna talk to Maurice's sons here. They got all kinds of history packed in here. It's insane.
Ding dong.
Come on in. Working on all 426 here today and got a hose with us. I'm Timmy.
Is this stuff you do every day? Just roll Hemis around?
Yeah, obviously we do. Richie Petty,
Hey,
Mark Petty,
welcome.
and Ramsey Petty.
Hey guys, how y'all?
What is this place? What are we standing in right now?
This is what used to be Maurice Petty and Associates. Actually, Petty Brothers Racing, Moonshine Speed Shop, Petty Shine.
Chief shop.
Anything else you want to come up with?
Some have called it.
Can y'all name it something?
Of a functioning museum?
Yeah, that's a better way of putting
you
it.
hear Petty Brothers, we're the Petty Brothers.
So what do you want to see now?
I guess we could start with the old stuff. Where's all the old stuff?
How far back you want to go?
As far as you got.
Well, you can. We go back to the beginners. We'll start right here. This is where we do our little YouTube channel. We bring in old guys and we do a little question and answer deal. And we're actually learning stuff from these old guys. But people that worked with our dad, worked with our uncle. But we have all these artifacts and stuff we've put in here that we've collected through the years, that our dad collected, our grandmother collected. It's cool to us. We don't really know what we got, but we just know it's what we grew up with.
I got a question about this garage door right here. Is it someone just put that up one day and decided to put a man door in? And
Okay, this building originally was built back in 1971, back on 72, when they were getting into the kit car days. And they originally built these buildings. They were going to rent them out for individual race teams to come in here. They was going to service them with the kit car and service them with parts, and they could rent out a bay. Well, the economy went to, you know what, during the 70s. So the money dried up and Chrysler pulled out. So then this became a storage building. What was it, Mark, 91?
Yeah, somewhere around 91.
We moved down here. Our old shop, we used to be up there in the old shop on the corner where all the Petties started. Lee started, Richard Marsh started, Kyle started, and that's where we started. Yes, the weight room up there, and that's where we started.
Okay.
So we moved down here in 91, and so anyway, we built these offices, and Daddy said, well, we may need to expand, so leave the doors. So he just built around it. So that's where that comes from. But this
Engineering right there.
yeah, but that's originally what that was for. Was it was going to be three different race shops down here for people to rent out.
Huh.
But anyway,
Well, that's pretty cool.
91, we bought this building
Yeah.
and 5 acres of land off
Yeah.
of Petty Enterprises.
well, Petty Properties.
Petty
It was
Properties,
Lee
yeah.
Petty. But this is the old shop. That would be the weight room up there. I guess you went through there a couple of months ago. You might want to get into it later. But we was talking about that old Rusty Wallace car. That's one of those cars. The engine's out of it, but everything else is just like it come off the racetrack. We got old helmets in there from 1950, 1990s, whatever. The flag itself, that's from the 1979 Daytona 500. Maurice Petty and Richard Petty, Bobby Allison, Donnie Allison, and Junior Johnson's all signed. I haven't caught up with Cale yet. I've been trying to get Cale to sign it for 10 years, but you know, it's hard to get Cale to sign anything, so we're waiting on that. We got all the stuff that goes back to 1949 when Petty Brothers Racing, which was Julie and Lee Petty when they started.
Is this a sticker? Or like a water slide or
That's
something?
what they used to put on the cars. This is an original. This would go up there at the driver's door.
Like this year, they got the 75th anniversary decal on all the cars. That
Yeah.
would have been the
But
version
this is an original.
from that year.
So this is what they,
Yeah.
one that never made it to a car and is older than my dad.
He was older than all of us.
That's
Oh,
a
wow.
54.
There can't be that many like examples of something like this left
Well,
in the world.
Not anywhere but here. In NASCAR.
Well, we're
Now,
lucky
here's something-
that they survived.
This is something,
Years.
and if you keep up with our Twitter, we posted this, but in 59, they give each driver a medal just for participation award, I guess. But I don't know of anywhere I've ever seen these but here.
First Daytona 500.
Each driver got one. So.
There'll never be a first one again.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
right. We got Lee Petty's Hall of Fame ring. We got Maurice Petty's Hall of Fame rings. And this here is the very first trophy Petty Racing Lee Petty won it in October of 1949. So there was only 8 races running 49, Mark.
I think that's right.
So this is one of 8.
And that come from your neck of the woods, Pennsylvania.
Heidelberg, yeah.
He's from above Pittsburgh.
We're gonna be saying wow a lot during this, I'm sure. There's just in this, we could spend hours just in this office. And you still have all these engine parts and cars and...
Well, not all of them, obviously, but we got a few.
We're a bit of hoarders, so we don't throw nothing away, but it's kind of nice now.
I do want to correct you, Mitch. This is a working museum. This ain't just a museum. I'm working on my hoses right now.
This bottom part of this is the 79 championship. The daddy's coat. There's his belt buckle from Winston Cup. Champagne out of the victory lane there. There's a picture of him back here, the awards banquet, and all the little awards. So, you know, we change it up every now and then, but this is kind of neat because we got all these old chicks and things. And
Ralph Earnhardt.
Yeah, Ralph. Right here, this is Richard. This is our other grandfather, Red Miler. That's Lee Petty, and that's Ralph Earnhardt. Maurice Petty took the picture.
Wow.
So all that's some greatness in that photo. Right
There you go again. Wow.
Look here, Logan. Speaking of him, he got a mechanics award in '59. I told you he was the first guy through the tunnel at Daytona.
And Red Miler.
Kenneth Miler. Kenneth Wayne. He was bring that.
Cale Yarborough's first Cup win. He was the car owner.
He was sort of a satellite builder of the Homer Moody cars right here in Randoman, right down the road.
Richard's first win. He sent Red Miler with him. That was his top mechanic at the time. When right here, I mean, you can just shoot from in here. We won't get too far in here. But this is why I got all my pictures and stuff that when we do our little archive digs and stuff, and we make some videos and stuff. This is where we keep all our pictures.
What is this thing here? This cabinet.
Richie, go ahead.
No, you tell him, Richie.
Mark, you got it. Go ahead. Take over, Mark.
Man, you know more about it than I do.
64. And this was in the back of the trucks. And this was just a piece that they, you know.
It might have been earlier than that because there's pictures of it with like that 413
Well, I got
in the
that.
back of it.
Hang on, I got this.
So the 413 was the motor before they ran the Hemis. So I'm thinking it was 62 or 3.
There's 64.
Right.
And
Is that the picture of it?
Yeah, it's in the back. You can't see it hardly, but it's in the back of the truck.
But there's
Yeah,
a picture with
yeah,
the
I see
same
it.
cabinets with an earlier engine.
Okay,
than
well, it
that.
might be.
64.
Well, it's before me. I'm a 68 person, so that goes before me. So,
It was in their trucks in the early 60s. And tell them the other part of the story. Lee had his.
Oh, yeah, well, grandfather used to keep it up there in one of his old buildings, kept his golf balls and all his lawnmower parts where he worked on his lawnmowers and stuff. And then they was done with it and is going to throw it out, and we still use it to this day.
We're going to make some waffles on it next week.
yep.
There you have it.
2 mechanic awards that Daddy won. I guess this one, that's either 64 or 67. Which one is that one? I can't see. 67. Yeah, 64 is in the NASCAR Hall of Fame. That's where that one's sitting. So we got this one here.
He's the first engine guy in the Hall of Fame, wasn't he?
Well, yeah, but I mean, he's Petty Enterprises. He's owner, crew chief. I mean, you name it, he did it. This is off Pete Hamilton's pit. This was a pit sign. You'll see him out there holding up, telling him to think and
Show the backside of it. I still drink 7-Up to this day.
But that's off 1970. Pete Hamilton, Daytona 500, and Talladega both wins that year. And then that's the nose off of it.
The actual car.
Well, I don't know if that was actual. That was just one laying around.
We're going to call it as the day. Yes, it is. Real one. That's the one.
See, that's the way it looked on the car. Whoop, what's your step? Oh, there's my glasses. I can't see.
As we shuffle by the
I was going to
Dodge
show you.
R5 in the
This
corner.
This is 1950. I believe this is 52. Darlington. This is Lee Petty, 42. But beside it's 24. That's Julie Petty. That's his brother. He was driving that day. But he was mostly known for being a car owner, mechanic. He was probably the best mechanic of all the Pettys.
What's going on in this picture right here?
Wilkesboro 72. Bobby Allison driving for Junior Johnson. And Richard and Bobby had a little bit of a feud going on since 68. But it kept going on and on. Well, I think at this race, Richard went on to win it, and Bobby ended up in the backstretch. these guys come out of the stands ready to fight Richard because this is Junior's home track, right? They're going to take up for Junior Johnson. I think they'd been up there sipping on that White Lightning. Well, Daddy, he's waiting on it. He picked up that helmet. He cleared them. He decked them and laid them out. That's right before he hit that old cat in the head.
That looks like the around and find out face.
Oh yeah, you don't. That was his bodyguard. You didn't mess with Richard Petty. If you mess with Richard, you got Maurice.
Is there another picture where that'd be cool if there was another frame where there's like, you know, like mid contact?
You know, it's just that back in them days, people didn't take a lot of pictures, and that just be a happenstance that somebody got that one.
That's crazy that this one was even taken.
Yeah, oh yeah. 125, and that's one of them. Or that's it. That's the one. Of all the Daytona wins, that's the only thing they won in the qualifying races.
Huh.
So that's kind of a neat thing. And Richard only won, or Petty Enterprises only won one pole position. That was 1966. So of all the success, they spent more time worrying about winning the race than the pole positions, I guess, in the qualifying races.
That makes sense.
Yeah, well, their record shows it.
Oh, what is that you're leaning on right now?
This is a R5 P7 Dodge engine from 2002, 3, somewhere in that neighborhood. This is actually how me and you started talking, wasn't it? You was interested in this engine, this style engine.
Yeah.
We actually, right after you called, you must have called somebody because we got it sold now. So anyway, and this one over here is a spec-headed Dodge motor that was it Hooters Pro Cup or?
Yep.
And actually, we did better with the cast iron heads than we did with that, because that cylinder head never really was meant for that block.
That was an R block.
It's R3 block, just like the
That's
other.
an R3?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's the problem was 59-degree heads with a 48-degree block, right?
Yeah, and see how it's got that was for a W7 or a W8 head because it's got the extra bolt holes on the bottom. See how it's got the extra bolt holes?
When we first,
Yeah.
That would be for these.
we started this
See it?
deal, it was an R
Same
block.
same deal, same premise.
Yep.
That's a different block.
Then it went to R1, and we had a couple of R2s, and then it went to the R3. So
Well, and the reason why we got engines like this because we actually built the engines for Richard's truck program, 95 to what, 04?
no, well yes, but we worked directly for Chrysler there from.
Right, but that's where those engines come from. We was part of that.
Yeah.
And we did the development work for the Chrysler short track program.
That was
The-
03.
Yeah,
the
which is where the
W2
Hooters
is,
Pro Cup engines
Yeah.
came from.
Yeah.
That was 03, 04.
That's a W7 headed motor right there. So that was only about a year or two. But it
The one on the right. That was actually the first
You
engine.
can
we
uncover
ever-
if you want to, Mitch.
That was the first engine we ever built for the Craftsman trucks, and it ended up becoming a pit stop truck.
What year would have this been put together?
96.
96. So this is probably, when did Dodge start doing the truck series? As a,
95.
so this is what like the Dodge truck series origin engine,
Yeah.
pretty much.
And-
Pretty much, yeah.
And we were basically running streetcar engines against race engines
At that time.
at that time.
Yep, exactly right.
Did this share architecture with like the LA small block
Exactly.
things? That's
Exactly.
about all I know about Mopar
You need to know about
stuff.
But that's you're spot on, right? Spot on.
Wow. See, I'd never, you know about the R5 and the R6, but I always wonder what came before that. And
It would have been the R3,
There
which
it
was
is.
Or just a R.
Well, the first
R1.
the first ones we built was for your late model in '95. We had the original T8 blocks. we were
Right.
working out
Yeah,
of. And then it went to an R block,
Yep.
and then the R1 finally came in, and then the R2 only did a couple of those, and then the R3 took over.
Yeah.
It's confusing for us too.
Bring the camera over here.
Yeah, there's a little history of the
That's
block.
what most people call it X block's actually a K block.
Yeah.
That was out of the TA block.
Exactly right.
this one right here.
Yeah, and when we first started this program, our dad called one of his old friends and needed that block, so we were building all our stuff off of
And
that.
wasn't that basically the Keith Black block from the
Yeah,
Trans Am days?
from the Trans
From the
Am
early
stuff.
70s?
Yes, sir.
And they were lighter than
That's what a T8 is.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got a 184 bow tie block. Is that an SB2 in front of it?
Yes. I was trying to figure out where that one come from. Yeah, that's what it is.
Huh. And what is this? This the just hanging out here.
We're actually restoring the '74 Daytona 500 winning car for a customer, and we're actually waiting on it to get blasted right now. And as soon as we do, the body man's on standby to paint it. But that engine that was rolling through here that you asked me, that's actually going in that car. It's got a complete race transmission from 1970. All that's actually a 71 engine that probably came from did come from here. But we dug it out of Huntsville, Alabama.
Huh.
What was that? B&B or R&R?
Right.
Yes, R&R Speed Shop in Huntsville, Alabama. Two old fine gentlemen, and they had been sitting down there since Talladega of 71 or 2.
Yep.
And I don't know how some old dirt car driver was actually running in dirt, and it was in foul shape when we got it. But you know, typically Daddy, he wouldn't have painted the blocks like that. But look how the freeze plugs are done.
Yeah.
And all the safety wiring. That's definitely traces of Petty Enterprises from back in the day.
And it was like that when you got it?
Yeah, all I did was clean it up, and my daughter actually helped me do the epoxy because that was another one of our dad's trademark, was putting epoxy around the frost plugs.
So that's the interesting kind of stuff. Like
yeah, I mean, and it's like I said, they always went the extra mile here, wouldn't you say?
Well, it's like they always told us that their success didn't come from no one big thing. It was all the little things added up together.
When other people was having stuff like that fall off, their stuff was staying in.
Well, and they raced so much, they about seen everything. So if they had a problem, they made sure it didn't happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you dynoed this thing?
Yeah, but I didn't make a power pull. I was like, I guess my nuts turned to raisin, so to speak. I didn't want to tear it up. I mean, I can't. I call that the unicorn. You're not going to find another engine like that with all the complete stuff. The bell housing, the rat roaster intake, which is all magnesium. I mean, one of the old Chrysler engineers told me that was either 75 or 100 pieces between all the Chrysler teams of that. That's got a separate oil pump on the inside. It's a scavenge pump.
Huh.
So there's 2 oil pumps on this car. I mean, on that motor. It's very interesting, and like I said, I didn't want to tear it up. I made sure it ran. It runs fine, and it's going in the car as soon as we get her painted.
You have a dyno in here?
Yeah, come on.
I like all this paneling. It really gives it that that museum
well,
vibe.
This shop was actually built during the kit car days, and they had it separated off. Pan over there.
I told him.
Oh, you told him already? Okay, cool.
So the paneling, is that original to the kit car days?
1970s, yep.
So they were going to rent this out to the late model guys. So we've been in and out of the late model racing all our lives. 1985.
Did you put the dyno in here?
We did most of this. You can tell we did most of it ourselves. But yeah, we figured we really wasn't beholden to any brand at the time. And we said we need to be able to run a Ford, Chevrolet, or Dodge, or Studebaker gets back on. We'd definitely probably entertain that idea. But basically, we took this is old roll bars from up there, and we took and made our own little chain fall where you put anything on here. All you gotta do is put a little adapter button and little uprights, and you're in business. So maybe a 2-hour period, you can be running a Ford, Chevrolet, or Dodge.
Oh, tell the story about the Stavola thing.
Oh, yeah, you had to get me on that one. The only reason why I even knew who you were, you did an episode at Stavola's, and Greg Peterson was there talking about the drive shaft off the dyno. It would look just like this.
And I'll never forget being back there in the shop one day and heard that thing zinging up, and all of a sudden it went to a whole nother level, zung up like another $5,000, and heard a hell of a racket. So we all come running because he killed it. Timmy Petty standing here, and he's just going like, he's just staring up there like this. And he's white as a ghost. And we're like, Timmy, you all right, dude? What the hell happened? He's like, drive shaft broke. He just points, and the drive shaft is stuck in the ceiling right there. It had a little stubby drive shaft from back of dyno, and that thing broke and went flying and stuck in that damn ceiling. I'll never forget the look on his face. He was just like, drive shaft broke.
Obviously, we don't have the plywood ceiling, but it's about as high as that. And running one of them old V6s, and that thing come unhinged and screwed in the ceiling like a drill bit. It's the biggest thing ever. That drive shaft screwed in. And so, how old are you now?
26.
I was probably a little younger than you, sitting there worried about my job, going, they're going to fire me over this one, which it wasn't my fault. but I had to be the guy holding the handle, which is, this is built a lot like the Stavola dining room, because I worked there with the Allman boys, and I don't know, that's the way you did things back then. You know, the D-Pack was the hot data acquisition, and
That's what you were familiar with, so you sort of replicated it here.
we had to go. You know, we were trying. We built this place to race. You know, our intentions was to go racing, and I think we did a damn good job of it.
What era is this dyno from?
We bought it in 91-ish,
92, right in that area.
and it sat down here in the crate for a while, and our grandfather come down and said, "Are y'all gonna hook this thing up or not?" So we were right in the middle of building cars too, by the way. So anyway, and from where they're standing to here, this was the only engine shop we had. The rest of it was for body shop, and we did fabrication out there. And at one time we had 2 or 3 cars sitting out here, didn't we?
Oh yeah.
And then as time marched on, this became an engine shop for, like they told you, the petty truck team, the Chrysler late model stock stuff. And then we immersed ourselves in it, you know, and never looked back.
What do you have under construction right now?
Come on, show him what you're working on now, Tim.
Oh.
You working on some neat stuff right now?
When that thing unhinged, you can't come off there quick enough and shut her down.
You're still.
Old Peterson wasn't laughing. I mean, he wasn't lying about that one. That was a true fact. And they all come running up there, and they were laughing at me too, and I wasn't laughing. I said, they're gonna fire me for sure.
Were you shocked to see that the hole was still in the ceiling?
Well, when you're standing there running, and you got these fluorescent lights up there, and that thing come undone, and it's like it bounced off of them, but screwed in. So all the lights were busted. It was dark, and the sparks flying. It's one of the scariest moments I ever had is working on this old stuff, you know.
Wow.
Except maybe if you leave something off and you're the only one that remembers it. This is a 440 Chrysler we're doing for a customer. Got a friend that does a lot of the old Superbird and restorations and whatnot, and we got all the pieces but maybe the camshaft in for it. And we're going to bump the compression on, put a set of aftermarket heads on it. But we do a lot of stuff like that here. This is a 427 Chevrolet, one of, I think, 300 Winters aluminum block. What do we say it was, a ZL1?
Yeah,
The original ZL1. But we also, I won't go back up there and film the heads if you're interested.
yeah, this is all neat
But they're
stuff.
ready to rock. The heads, I mean, I run into a little problem. Obviously, somebody had let it freeze up, and so I had to get the block welded, and then I miscalculated the deck height. So I'm right in the process of having to cut pistons for this thing, and they got a dome on them like you wouldn't believe, because it's like a 120 cc chamber head. So you're trying to get all you can just to get 11 or 12 to 1, you know.
Yeah. You got so much neat, just even the equipment in here, like the engine stands and the workbenches and the tools.
That's interesting you say that.
Like,
we have 4 of these, which our dad wouldn't even mess with an engine unless it was on one of these stands. So he could just sit there and wouldn't have to struggle turn it around. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
But they were, I think, Alice Chalmers tractor engine stands from the late 40s, early 50s, somewhere in that neighborhood.
So you've actually built to service tractors, and they just made this.
See, just make you a different adapter plate.
Huh.
We've got, I had a guy cut me out some steel because, you know, obviously it's probably a little overkill, but my God, it just makes it life easy, you know, when you're back here.
We've been in a lot of engine shops and never seen anything like that.
Well, and we actually got another one, and it's just too big. It's like for a diesel, and I want to fix it like these, you know, because all this was kind of homemade here. Probably in the early 60s. I remember being here when I was a kid, so I'm a 62 model. So
Who made this piston stand here? It looks like it came out of a kitchen or something.
Here's one here too.
Those were actually made by Richard's father-in-law,
Leonard
Really?
Owens.
Leonard Owens. Yep. He was a
That's
cabinet
right.
maker by trade, and in his retirement years, they set him up.
Well, this stool was made by him, that's it. He made all the cabinets and stuff around here. And
There was actually a woodworking shop at Petty Enterprises, and he built all the cabinets and stands. And
You're still using them.
well, they still, you know, why if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, we've had to obviously put modern screws in because it's been trying to come apart. But We won't let it die. And by the way, this is not staged. This is what we do every day. This is happening.
You walk in.
The Hemi might have been a little bit. I was expecting it.
A little bit of everything, right?
Here's the injectors for that 427. And again, fuel injection, not my wheelhouse. If anybody ever comes in here with a Mooney Ham blower, I'm gonna say, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not doing it. It's been a struggle. Oh, here's the R&R speed shop. This is where that engine came from. It's set down there. They actually use it for displays for, like, I don't know, some kind of little hometown get together.
What is this picture right here? Is that taken inside this building?
Yeah, that was a lot of the R5 stuff, and our dad could still get around and walk good then. And this is him with one of the 66 or 7 Hemis. Same deal here. That's probably in the 70s. Don't that look a lot like that one sitting out there?
Yeah, it does. And that's just
Look, you got to do this too. You got to get the wife in there. That was started working at RCR in 2006, and that was the first championship. The first year I was there, we won the championship, and I don't know how many races with Kevin Harvick and them, but that was us. And we had a photo op with the old car down there at Florida at the Floridian and was it Disney World? Yeah, something like that. They did the banquets down there.
And you got a Stavola Brothers Ken Wilson business card on here.
Yeah. Well, he's actually our first cousin, believe it or not. But he actually was there after I was there at Stavola's.
Huh.
His mother and our mother were sisters.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
He actually started working for Dad in the 70s, right out of high school.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So you know anything about that car with the holes in the bars?
We weren't there.
We weren't part of that,
No.
obviously. We were.
But we do know the story.
Yeah, just like what you know, what we've heard. And
It's hearsay from our perspective, I'd say.
Being around this stuff, did you have any interesting stories of things that went on?
Like how deep we're going to go with this?
Did you want to?
We don't have any stories.
There's no statute of limitations on that stuff.
On the cheating stuff?
Innovation. Gray area.
well, our story, we're sticking to it. The only time our dad ever cheated was one time in '83 at Charlotte, because the only time they got caught.
There's 10 minutes to hold us when he's changing tires for healing.
That was probably right around the time, that when we augured that drive shaft up in there.
Huh. Those are such good looking cars.
Yeah, I like the Buick. The Buick program was fun.
This is from 1950s. See the table that the block's on?
Yeah.
That's just block. That's this table right here.
We still use
We
it.
still use it to this day. So
We actually built a modern version. We got 2 of those, but yeah, we're kind of a little bit of nostalgia.
well, if it's like Mark said, if it ain't broke. Ain't no
Well, and we didn't necessarily keep it for the nostalgia. We kept it because we worked with it.
Yeah, still do.
And so now it's even
cool.
Yeah, we kept it this long. Why would we get rid of it now?
Yeah.
You know.
It's got to be crazy to come in here every day, and I mean, you're just like doing stuff. Like this is just your stuff.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's Grandpa's table. It's to zoom out from the perspective of the rest of the road. It's way more than that.
Right.
Like, how often do you think about that when you're just pushing a table around?
Probably every time we're here.
Yeah, a lot. I mean, and it's good memories, and it's like I say, as time goes on, that stuff becomes more important, just because it's just more rare and rare and rare and rare.
Yeah.
We were always fortunate to be able to work out of what Richard and them didn't use anymore at Petty Enterprises, and we could just keep it and roll on.
Is that where some of these machines came from?
Yeah, actually, Tim's gonna show them the.
Let's talk about the cheating. There's the flag from Charlotte. Richard Morris, and that's Pemberton. That's signed it.
That was our dad's last cup.
Yeah, so we held on to it.
So what is the story behind that engine for those who don't know?
I think most everybody knows the whole story now. People's talked about it for years and years. It was just a.
This
Yeah, that's
machine-
why we won't look at the machine.
That,
It was bored right there in that
it was
machine.
bored on that machine. Jimmy, you know more about that, do you?
Oh, well, that machine, they bought that in the, gosh, I'd say early 60s. Because up till a certain point, they would always take and do their machine work up in Greensboro.
Right.
But so as they got bigger in their racing careers, they started buying equipment. I think that's a 66 model 85B. And before we got that one, you know, they, like I told y'all before, as racing got bigger and more money they had deals on equipment. So we bought us a Storm Vulcan in 93, which is right over there. And as a kid, we always thought, well, it'd be so cool to have an engine, an 85B cutting a block and a head at the same time. And we made it, we did it. We actually have done that before, and plus using our dad and grandfather and uncle's old boring bar. It was not uncommon to see Daddy at the old engine shop sitting on an old crank box, sitting there with a homemade flapper, not no store-bought Tootsie Roll, and honing pistons and honing blocks with the old dingleberry hone, right? Yeah. And he said we won more races that way than we did with all the modern stuff. Huh. And he's not lying. I mean, the facts prove it.
He had a special feel on a fingernail.
Yeah, when you do when you
so he had
on the block, he would always scrape his fingernail and
you could tell if it was a seal or not.
Yeah.
And he just had a little drag to it. He hit it again.
He had that figured out more, like his touch understanding of the dingleberry was better than the machine.
Maybe, yeah, but he'd done it a million times. He just knew what he was feeling, you know, what he wanted to feel.
So that's what he was referring to, instead of this apparatus here, which we just kind of moved some stuff around. We were anticipating y'all's visit. So glad you dropped in. As time has moved on, a lot of these guys are into the nostalgia, road course racing, and where I work during the day, which is ECR engines, they have sold dozens of fuel injected and carbureted engines, obviously. This was one that I took the manifold off, the EFI manifold off, and put a distributor back in it.
Such a stark contrast is you got a Hemi sitting next to an R07, which is that's still being used. It might be older, but that's still the current platform.
And again, we just, whatever somebody brings in, we did a tractor engine the week for a good friend of mine. I called them Whataburger rompers, what Keith Dorton used to call them. But we just build hot rods for different friends. That's a friend of mine.
What's a Whataburger romper? What is that?
Well, you go through the drive-through and you sit there and you old cammed up, you know, Whataburger romper. That's what he used to call them. He did a lot of them too, just to help keep his lights burning, you know. I worked for him back in, I guess, '85. Yeah.
When the Whataburgers were to drive in.
Yeah, that was like a
Concord and Canal.
McDonald's, but it was a local.
So this is what a burger, not Whataburger, not the Texas one.
Texas and Florida.
Yeah,
different chain.
Yeah, see, people who aren't from here don't know that.
Oh, and it's great. I mean, if you probably had one, ain't you?
Yeah, we've been there before.
Same Whataburger, same chain. It was started over in Concord. So in here we have what we call petty shine. Our nephew kind of does it, and if he's here, I think he was here earlier, so if you want to check it out.
Your nephew, my son.
I said our nephew.
Yeah. This is my son, Judson.
We do custom wraps, paint protection film, ceramic coatings, paint correction, detailing, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But by the way, this Corvette here, we did a custom wrap on. This Corvette's actually for sale if anybody wants to just give us a call. But yeah, man, 7 years in business. We've been doing this every day and making the most out of it. So
it's pretty cool covering the evolution of a building from its inception to present day, and it's still being used for cool stuff.
Yeah, like I said, we're proud of Judson, Ramsey, Timmy's daughter comes by. Hopefully they're gonna keep everything going one day and just keep the petty tradition alive.
Carrying on the name, just maybe in a little different way, you know. So it's pretty cool.
We talked about our other grandfather, Kenneth Myler. Most people that know him as Red Myler. He worked at the Petty's here in the 50s. First guy through the Daytona Tunnel, hauling Lee Petty's car, which they won the race. In the 70s, he worked at Bud Moore's, and I actually give him that poster, but when he passed away, they give it back to us. But he actually took one of them Trans Am cars, which was red, that color, wasn't it, Mark?
Yep.
And between, what, 6 or 7 grandsons, we all had asked him that we wanted that car from our pop. You know, we call him Pop. Well, he ended up selling a car because it would have been a hell of an argument over that car. But yeah, we just keep it. That's one of he was really involved in the Trans Am days with Bud Moore, Ford Motor Company, and he bled Ford blue. He was a Ford man, wasn't he, Mark?
Oh, there ain't no doubt.
What's with the Herschel McGriff water cooler back there?
So that was his water cooler from that race. So there's a lot of stuff in here from '74, and just doesn't seem to want to go nowhere. You know what I mean?
The Herschel McGriff water cooler.
So I wouldn't mind having that car here too. It'd be
Yeah.
cool because it looked identical to this one.
There's a Kyle Petty.
You got all kinds of neat stuff back there. Good.
Yeah, once we get the lights fixed, we'll invite you back over and show you some of that stuff. But, yeah, we're still on the engine stuff, the car stuff.
So what are we about to see?
Just the skeleton of the old wreck over there.
Stanley Smith in the middle in the black car. They were running 3 abreast going into that turn, Ken.
Richie Petty's car was collected as well.
You see it right there.
Yeah.
Originally a Blue Max Pontiac. It's been 90 because we got them in 91. And I raced them as a ARCA cars for Pontiacs for a couple years. And then this was 93. We made them over into Fords and decided to go do a couple of cup races. We made 3 of them. This was Talladega in July. Because it was be careful, it's really wet around there. You might see.
So this was a Rusty Wallace car?
It was originally a Blue Max Pontiac, yep. So, Raymond Beetle car. I guess Rusty was the driver.
Yeah. And you got a little...
So we chopped off the Pontiac there in 92, and we made it 93 into a Ford.
When did it land right here?
Oh, well, it stayed out there in the front for a long time, but it's just, we pushed it back here probably 10 years ago or 15 years ago. Careful, it's wet.
It's very wet.
Anyway.
You got another one?
Yeah, it looks like it come off the racetrack. But after there's an old top off of like a 63 Plymouth.
Yeah. Like you just, we're gonna
go
go.
out there in the back. But,
Is this one of the ones that was buried?
Yeah.
On the...
We were clean. What the stick is still. But when we were building the parking lot and all this, some of this stuff surfaced up.
So this is from the famous graveyard.
Yeah. But this, the engine's out of it, but everything else is just like it come off the racetrack. I guess this was 95 last time I ran this one. This was the old Blue Max car too. And it's got the interior. I guess that would have been a Rusty Wallace seat originally.
You said you were the same size, didn't
Yeah,
you?
when I went to Butler built there in 89 to get fitted, they said I had the same dimensions as Rusty. And we got these cars in 91, so the seats fit perfect for me. But yeah, and there it is.
Is that a new old stock Thunderbird bumper?
Yeah, this one we didn't use. We, like I said, the 95, we come off the racetrack, we missed a show at Talladega and loaded her up, and this is where she ended up.
You think you'll dig it back out and put it back together?
I don't know, maybe one day. I'm 54 years old, and it's a good place for it for now. There's your barn find.
Yeah, literally. Like you open it up to look at this little car and they're like, oh, there's just this old roof buried in here.
Some old parts and stuff. But I think I'd been like a 63 Plymouth.
Were you able to identify what the wreck was from or any of that?
I'd have to look it back up. I think we nailed it down pretty good, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
Is there any more race car pieces or artifacts in these other ones?
Oh, no, it's just some old junk, yeah.
What's the relation between this building and this one?
So what was it, 98?
98, yeah.
We decided we was gonna add on because we was running out of room.
And a hurricane hit and knocked a hole in the roof.
Yeah. But anyways, we were fortunate enough when Dodge was coming back to cup racing, and they they had a secret shop that Everett Ham and all of them worked out of. They actually leased this building out of us and worked out of it, what, maybe 8 months?
Well, it was
The Intrepid.
Yeah,
Abraham did for a little bit, then he moved on, but then
he was
Richard-
building his shop,
yeah.
and so this is all they had to begin, and then the Petty Enterprises ended up being their R&D shop for
About a year and a half.
about a year and a half. That's Ellie.
So anyway,
How old is Ellie now?
Ellie's 14 and a half.
Wow.
You say hey?
Hey, baby.
Man, I'll say it's a fun group of guys to be around. Just like stories they have, the way they interact with each other, all the cool stuff in there, the way the building looks with the, obviously the paneling. You know I love paneling. But it's just cool. Let us know if you'd like to see us do more stuff with the Petty brothers. Maybe we could talk them into digging up some Dodge R5 parts. Maybe we could build an R5. I don't know, something. What do you think about that? Let me know. Statistically, half of you are watching us on a TV right now, which means that you're not able to comment because you have a phone, like you're not on your phone, you're on a computer, all you have is a remote. If you haven't checked out and you're still listening to me, it would really help us a lot if you went on a desktop or went on your phone, made sure you were subscribed, and made a comment, interacted. We want to know what you think. We want to know what these things make you think of, why it's important to you. Where did your interest for this really start? Because we see that the age demographics are all over the place. So everybody's got to have a different era that, you know, like Kenny Wallace says, that's my timestamp. What's your timestamp? And if you'd like to support the channel and show others that you support the channel, you can check out staplesandautoworks.com. You can find like the old Winston style hat and stuff that I'm wearing. Not this shirt, but we have shirts like this. We have shirts, they're black. They don't say Pennzoil on them, but they have our stuff on them. I'm so bad at these. I get off topic really quickly. Anyway, if you haven't watched the other videos yet with Dale Inman, Richard, and everybody else about the whole Petty compound, you should have a pretty good idea what's going on over at that place if you go check out the Racing History Nerd Zone playlist and find all that. And I guess I'll throw in a little teaser. I'm working on getting this thing going again. It's a 2007 Audi S8 with the V10. This is like the Lamborghini V10, which there's kind of is, but it's not. Interesting story about that will be explained in that video. I have been working on this car for a few months now, on and off when time allows, and it's a freaking lot of things. You'll see a video on that whenever I get it working right, I guess. Kind of totally off topic. We got Petty racing and I'm working on a freaking V10 Audi sedan. I don't know, we just like cars here. We like cars, we like things that make noises, and we like to learn things and have fun.